So we have to, as parents, we have to talk about. I talk with my daughter already about sex because, as I said, they have information everywhere. So instead of asking to a friend or whoever watching on YouTube or whatever, no, ask me. And I think I have done like, I'm not sure,
Right,
excellent job, but it's start talking with her about the risk, about STDs, about the dangers.
That's another thing that messed me up too.
Danger, because as kids now, because of the quarantine, a lot of pedophiles are out there looking for, like in the internet. Like they know they know that there's a lot of kids now online.
Yeah.
So I was, since day one, I approached this matter with my daughter. So it's like, okay, you have to be careful because there's this type of persons. And some people is like, oh, but your daughter is too young to know that. No, I wish I knew this kind of stuff when I was her age. But the information was different.
But that's my fear. Like, I don't want to talk about it like too soon if my daughter is not asking about it. But the problem is that I don't want her to know about this type of things coming from another kid that was taught like some
differently, or you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I don't want her to have I want to be in control of a version and keep it like, in a natural way of, instead of getting it from somebody that got like really shocked by something he saw his parents or anything, and then he tells it to his friends. I don't want her to have that version of the story.
No, but that's why, I'm not telling you or you guys like just say everything. Of course, you know your kid and you know how far you can go and what information. But I am telling you, it's very important to give especially if you have a girl, to give information, and you have to make sure that it's you, and you have to make sure. Yeah, you have to make sure that you are the one giving that information to your daughter.
Oh yeah.
Not another person that you don't know, and making sure that you create the bond of communication.
Well, that's for me the most important, that I don't talk specifics. I just say, when you want to talk about it, let me know. Or let your mother know, because I don't want you to have a version from a friend or from someone else. This is something that you need to discuss with your parent, because we want to approach it the way we think is suitable for you. So if you're ready to talk about it, if you have any questions, or if you hear something and it kind of like make you questions or wonder about stuff, ask us.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Because I don't want her to have like this idea of what sexuality is from another spectrum.
And we cannot keep them on a bubble. It's very hard now. I wish I could, and I wish we had. We have a lot of tools as parents. Like, we have this spy app, so I know what my daughter, who is she talking to, what is she doing. But at school also they have interaction with other kids, and you don't know. Even in my days, I have 9 years old and I watch porn.
Yeah.
So now I want my daughter to have this information, and as you said, like, do not have this misconception about sex. But these are the two things like that are very like personal for me, because I know that we're all different, but I know that like really?
Porn had like a negative effect on my sexuality.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Like what?
And for two reasons. And then the STD, the AIDS, basically, because it was everywhere when I was young. It came out, in the 80s, in the 90s. Well, it came out in the 80s, but it was very big, and there were a lot which was good of information and communication and fighting about it. But I am from the generation where it was like, oh, be careful, you might die if you have sex and it's unprotected, and so there's that fear already that is created, like for a teenager that didn't
80s, 90s, yes.
I'm like dead on that generation.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The first thing that like messed up with porn, it didn't mess up my sexuality, but it messed up my
my what? Your sexuality? Your perception?
No, like the big problem with porn is the objectifying of women, and that was a big issue for me, because I never objectified women as a way to get sexual pleasure. For me, it was always like sharing the moment. Okay.
And
Well, I was raised. I know I talk about my stepfather, but I was raised by my mother, like, and she was my everything. So it was. I always had like more respect for women and strong women than for guys. That for me were always deceiving. So that's my background basically. So when it comes into sexuality, and you are heterosexual, and the only thing that you see all about sexuality is people on TV objectifying women, like it's really their sexual object. Like for me, it wasn't like the act of seeing sex it was arousing, but I didn't have the premises. I didn't like the whole script of the thing, and which like created like some type of questioning on if I am intimate with a woman, is she expecting that from me? Because that's not what I want. I mean, at that time, I really, for me, it was really about, okay, you're going to like roll your eyes, sharing and fusion, connection.
I have nothing. Poker face.
So it's not like it messes you up like deeply, but it brings that type of questioning at the moment. So you're not really present because you're always like wondering, oh, should it be this? Should it be that? Well, that's who I am, I guess. I was already anxious. And then there's the second thing is STDs. Is because, like at least from me in France, like every single day, they were, put your
HIV.
condom on, and you have like shows that were raising money for the research for the cure for AIDS, and it was everywhere on commercials every day. Protect yourself, protect yourself, protect yourself, protect yourself, and to the point for me, for sensitive type of people, where you have like. So you have all these questions, and then you're like, okay, should I put it right now? Like, am I risking something?
Should I kiss her? Should I do this? Should I do that?
Yeah, so it's way too much questioning when you're supposed to be in the moment, basically. So it was.
So how
it was not
has
really
impact
good.
that right now?
No, and then there was the third thing that is something that I don't know. We don't talk about a lot, and it has nothing to do with size. I'm not saying that for that, but I experienced like. Quite often, condoms getting ripped during the act. So that raised like some type of paranoia and scare.
In the 90s? In the 90s?
Well, for me, from my personal experience.
So you how do I say? Like you use sometime a condom that was
yes, and no, and on top of that, so okay, it's going to get really, but I remember a couple of times where I didn't know it was like all ripped already, like, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like getting really good, really better, and it's only at the end that you see you only have like the base, the elastic and the base.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. So then you have like the fear of like pregnancy
or
STDs,
AIDS.
so you see all these things that I brought up, like it's not. I mean, I'm sure like sex is not easy for anyone, and on top of that, as you grow up, you learn what you like better than other things, and you have.
What did you like? What do you think you encountered the same like fears, like the ones that you were saying?
I think as you grow older, you like not,
you don't care.
Like for many things, like you're not as self-conscious
like
about
like
things.
what from where you were 20 and now, what have changed in that personality? Like you said, like, oh, this define my vision of sex, because that was for the last 10 minutes.
I like for me, and we talked about that before, like what people were thinking about me was really important. So that means I was in a constant fear of disappointing or not doing the right things. So I was like kind of stressed, like even without. So imagine this type of situations. So I just wanted to make sure that I was doing, what they liked. I never was thinking about me, which developed, I think for me, the fact that I don't have pleasure if the other one doesn't have
Pleasure.
So, yes.
Well, that's normal. I mean, if I am
It's
having
the opposite of porn. Like in porn, like the
You
guy
only-
comes in. I just need a hole and do it.
no,
And,
I mean,
and
I think a
it-
lot of people. I mean, for me, it's the same. I got pleasure knowing that my partner is having pleasure.
Yes.
Because what's the point of you being there if you don't?
But that's the opposite of what we see in porn, which is like, the guy doing his thing.
What kind of porn did you watch? I will show you some.
Well, I do watch porn nowadays because I have no sexual life. So
Oh, in your
from
VR?
from time
He
to time.
has a VR.
Oh yes.
And
yeah.
how is the experience?
We talked about it before.
We talk about
yes,
porn.
we didn't mention yes.
How is it?
Oh, it's great.
Someone
you know
that
what I
doesn't like to objectify the woman.
No, but because you know what I like is like.
I know. I don't know what you like.
So what okay.
I cannot hear me very well. Okay.
What I like is that both. First of all, like you kind of feel like they're right here, even though if you don't feel. But I like that you have like this impression, like when somebody like whispers in your ear, so you feel that closeness that you don't have when you're just watching a screen.
The screen.
Because you have the sound right here. When somebody comes to your right here, you can somebody whisper. But anyway, no, I don't have like my sexual life nowadays is almost non-existent, and on top of that, it's really hard because I know that some people that they're always ready. They're like
we have the Tinder challenge. What happened?
Yeah, but some people are always ready, like 24/7 ready. I was listening to another podcast the other day, and she was explaining that her husband is very different from her. Like he doesn't come to her. It's not like he never asks for it, but every time she comes to him, he's ready. Like he never says no. It's not like he doesn't want to. It's just like it's not his style to come and engage and do it.
Initiator.
Like for me, it's really different. There are really like some days or some moments. So like I really don't. I'm like, oh my, no, I don't want to have sex with myself right now. but
don't ask. Don't bother to ask because I will say no. Do you understand?
And sometimes I don't know if it's hormonal or anything like that, but it does change from time to time. So I don't have like a constant mood or thing that is like really
but you haven't answered my question.
What was your question?
Yeah, because you were everywhere. Like what have changed
in my life?
No, in your life, like in your sexual life, like you say, like okay, these are the things that define my sexuality that are really hard to get rid of.
Yeah, I didn't want to point like. We have, you have different number of partners in our life, and you have some people that are fine to be like with the same one for many years, and it doesn't make them wonder, have I explored everything sexually, or maybe it's not even one of their objectives or one of their goals, which is fine. I know for me, because I had like this type of like discomfort because of the way sexuality was presented to me, and the AIDS fear and all this thing. I felt like in my early years that I really needed to experience with different partner to know what was working for me, and you really have like different type of women, the ones that know what they like and tell you and do it, and you have some that are really shy, and then it teaches you how to take control of the situation and like but so I still don't remember what was your question, but through experience you discover what you like. There are some things that I watched in some movies that I was like, oh, I should really try that. But overall, I think about things that I've learned through the years is like, first of all, yes, there needs to be like some type of connection. It's not because somebody opens the legs that I'm going to be. I need to feel that the other one has pleasure, whether they're lying or not, because otherwise, like literally, it happened to me. Like I could not finish or perform or whatever.
Finish.
No, because I was, and then you discuss. Oh no, it's just like I'm very quiet or whatever. It's just the second thing is the freedom.
Okay.
feeling like you don't have any restriction, and you're like totally open, and you really like give yourself without fear of what
being judged.
Being judged, what the other is thinking. Is like really like just sharing this moment, and we don't care about anything that has been taught to us of the principles of what to do, what not to do. Like as long as you respect each other and you want to have pleasure together and enjoy, then you do it. Those are the two main things that if I don't feel like that I have that freedom, that it is really like restricted, and that the other one doesn't really, maybe they want to do it, but they are not getting really a lot of pleasure out of it, then
you don't feel like it.
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Well, remember we have a Tinder challenge with this guy.
Yeah, I haven't done anything. I mean, it's really hard to do Tinder when you're like in semi-confinement.
Okay, well, send your recommendations.
And the same thing, like different moods. Like sometimes I feel really lazy. Like I don't feel like trying to start like a discussion to get somewhere. And
well, you never know.
It's an investment that I'm not sure I'm ready to
invest.
To do right now.
Okay, well.
But I do miss it sometimes.
I do miss it sometimes. Well, keep using your VR.